Welcome to Obsessions After Dark, where the morally gray are irresistible, the red flags wave proudly, and happily ever after comes with trigger warnings. We're your hosts, Lori
and Cassie. Each week, we're diving into the darkest corners of romance, breaking down the books, the characters, the chaos, and everything that keeps us turning pages long past midnight.
This podcast discusses fictional books intended for adult readers and may include discussions of mature themes commonly found in dark romance, including potentially sensitive or triggering content. Know your limits, check your triggers, and take care of your mental health. If a topic isn't right for you, it's okay to skip it. Your well-being comes first.
All right. So joining us today is USA Today bestselling author Lucy Smoke, and we are so excited to have you on here today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. And may I say, you guys sound so professional. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you were at Sinners, correct?
I was. It was my third year going.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. I love Sinners. Well, I love the Dark Collective, the girls that put them, I say girls, the women that put them on, the queens, the overladies, instead of overlords. They are fantastic. The Dark Collective is wonderful. They're awesome. They've run it all 3 years. They've also done Shadows and Seduction. And I don't know if you went to the ball, because I think I might have seen you guys there, right? Yes? I thought so. And I don't know if you went to the ball, but they announced that they're doing a third signing, Sinners After Dark, in Vegas in 2028. And I will go to that too. Like, I'll do anything that they tell me to do.
I know. I was so excited to hear that because we went to Vegas a couple years ago and my husband's been dying to get back. So this gives him the reason to go back, and we're really excited.
Yeah, one of my best friends never been. She's always wanted to go. So she immediately, when she heard about it, she's like, I know you do everything they tell you to do. So I'm coming as your assistant. And she's like, you don't have a choice.
This will be my first time going. So never been to Vegas. I'm excited.
I went once and it was really good. It's very expensive. It's a very expensive city. But my dad goes every year. He's in a pool league, and so he goes for the national champions. He never wins national championships, but they win their regionals, and he's just happy to go every year. So he loves it. He's very well versed in how Vegas works.
It's a very fun place, but like you said, it's expensive. And then actually Shadows will be Lori's first time going to anything, from the Dark Collective. So I think she's gonna have a real fun experience. But such a huge con.
They throw a banger of an after party, I'll tell you that. They do.
Yeah, I get jealous of Cassie because she goes to everything, and I'm like, I want to go.
So she's going to make you go to this one.
Yeah, well, I want to go. I'm so excited. So, yeah. I just went to Happily Indie After here in Ohio, and I loved that. I love my indie authors, so that was super fun. All right, so Lucy, before we get into your books, and we have a lot to talk about with your books, we want to get to know the woman behind the chaos. So who is Lucy when she's not writing?
Well, unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news or break it to you, but I am not a woman. I am actually a goblin, dressed up as a human.
Love it.
The skin suit, actually. I am 3 raccoons in a trench coat, and you've all been fooled. No, I'm a workaholic, but I love what I do, and it revolves around my life. And I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm child free by choice. I have godchildren. I love kids. I have a phobia of getting pregnant. It's an actual phobia. I've had a pregnancy, a scare, and my immediate thought, even though I was a grown adult with a job, and the guy that I was with was making really good money, we would have been fine. My thought was, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die. So I am unfortunately child free by choice because I have phobias and can't get over them. But I have godchildren. I love them. I spoil them. They did not. It's really funny. My goddaughter, when she found out I was her godmother, because she didn't know, because we're family. And she didn't even think about her parents dying, what would happen. And she's like, wait, you're my godmother? And I was like, well, yeah, technically. She's like, okay. That's what she's called me ever since. She has not changed. Instead of aunt, instead of, my name, it's godmother. She treats me like her fairy godmother.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it too. Which, to be fair, I do spoil her. I take her out on book shopping dates. She gets all the things. My godson's the same way, except he doesn't like books as much as I do. So I take him on, hey, let's go to the jumping castle place or whatever it's called, or air jump, something like that. There's all those places. So I love to spoil the kids that are in my life. I have a really good group of friends. Whenever I'm on panels, I don't know if you've since you got well, you've been to signings, so you said you went to Indies Invade in Ohio. I don't know if you've been to any panels where they ask like, oh, like what do you do if there's like multiple people in a sex scene? And people are like, oh, I do stick figures. Oh, I do like little characters, or I do like little Barbie dolls. And I have friends, and they're easily convinced to do crazy shit. Very, very easily. I'm like, how much beer would it? Do I have to buy a 6-pack, a 12-pack? How much would it convince you to bring your husbands over? And I need y'all to just arrange some stuff in my head for me. Okay, thanks.
That's
like,
the best kind of friends, Lucy.
I have really good friends. We've all been friends for well over 10 years. Like you see like the French TV show and all those what do you call them? Oh god, what are they? Like the not reality TV shows, but like sitcoms. That's what they're called. Me and my friends, we are a sitcom. Like they are my support system. I have a really, really great group of friends. They keep my ass humble. So humble. Every time they're like, you're getting a little bit too big for your britches, girl. Like, you need to calm down. You're not hot shit. But then they're also my biggest cheerleaders, too. They walk a very fine line, and they walk it well.
That's the best kind to have.
Yeah, no, they're awesome.
So how did you find your way into writing all of these deliciously unhinged stories that we love so much?
I wish I could give you like some sort of amazing story of like being off on an adventure, but truth be told, this is my only big girl job I've ever had. I was in so I have a bachelor's in writing, English and literature and language, and I took a year off between my undergrad and graduate school. I moved to Indiana for that year, stayed with family, and I tried to get into Purdue. I was rejected from Purdue, but got into my alma mater where I got my bachelor's, and they paid for my schooling. And I'm like, hey, free shit, love that for me, especially as a Brookback college girl. So I was like, I'll take a free education. And I, originally wanted to teach, but I went to a school where they put you in the classroom really early on, and I loved it, but I didn't realize how much politics and administration like really like kind of like has a hand in it. And I did not care for the politics, did not care for the admin side of things. Kind of ruined the whole experience for me. And I was like, if I'm going to teach, I'm going to teach at a collegiate level. So I went back for my master's, and the month I went back, I published my first book.
Wow.
And by the time I graduated, which I graduated about a semester early because I wasn't planning on going for my PhD, I graduated with my master's a semester early, and I was making enough that it just didn't make any sense to look for another job. I was also booked for a lot of signings at that point, and what job is going to be like, oh yeah, you could take 5 billion days off this year because we know you have another job. They wouldn't cared. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to throw myself into this and we'll see what works. And it was rough for the first couple of years. And then I had a big break, and I, have developed a team around me that has been really, really great so far. So I'd like to say it was something unique and different, but I just love books. I've always been into it. Both of my degrees are in English and writing, professional writing. And I had my goal set pretty early on. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I did. And I was like, wow, shit, didn't think this would happen. So here we are now.
I love that. Yeah, like you said though, teaching is not for everyone. So I'm a sub for our local school district because I was going for my bachelor's in biological science for secondary teaching. Got in there, started subbing, and I was like, you know what? This is not what I want to do.
I loved being in the classroom. I loved the kids. I just did not like the politics and the admin.
Right.
And the thing is like even though I'm child free by choice, like I still have maternal instincts, and those maternal instincts I put into my godchildren, I put into my friends, I put them somewhere. And I loved having kids around me, like in the classroom, that I could like put that maternal instinct into. But there's a lot of like policies, a lot of like rules, and I understand why they're there. But if I have a crying kid coming up to me, I'm gonna hug them. And they're like, a lot of the administrators are like, you can't do that. Like, I understand why.
Yeah.
I genuinely do, because they do worry about, liability. They worry about like, like relationships starting with students and things like that. To me, I'm like, that's a child. That's gross. Okay. I look at a 24-year-old
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's a child. That's gross. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. But I do understand. I do understand. It's just like if I have a crying kid in front of me, I'm not gonna not hug them.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, no offense, I understand the policy, but fuck your policy.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe this
Yep.
isn't for me. Maybe it's just not the career for me. And like things are a little bit different in a collegiate level, and I do think it's a little bit more interesting. You have a little bit more freedom to teach students,
Mhm.
and I think having that freedom kind of like builds a more genuine relationship between students and their instructor or
Yeah.
teacher. So that's what I wanted to go through. I did end up teaching a couple of things in college when I was in my master's program, and it was fantastic, and I had a great time. 10 out of 10 would recommend, would go back in the future, when I'm, done being an author, which is probably never, let's be honest.
I hope not.
Right.
Yeah, no, I love it too much. I'm obsessed with it. It is my special interest.
It's perfect. I mean, I can't imagine not having your books. So I'm glad that you're doing this and that you plan to continue doing it. Just for all of our greedy sakes.
Yeah, but also,
Selfish.
don't send me your therapy bill. That's all I'm gonna ask.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're all in therapy, so we're good. We're good.
Sometimes books can be cheaper than therapy. I say sometimes because some of those special editions can be really expensive.
Yeah.
Cassie's the queen of special editions.
Yes.
Me too. Me too.
I have
My
a-
roommate likes to joke and say, like, oh, if we ever fall on hard times, we can all. I was like, if I find any of my books missing, you will go
Yeah.
missing.
No.
Like, your mother, I will help your mother look for you. Don't play with me.
You do not touch the books, no matter
No.
what.
No, I will know if you touch them and I will find you.
I take my library very seriously. And when I seen somebody walk away with your Dean cutout, I was so devastated because like I wanted that so bad, but they beat me to it. But I did walk away with a Kate and Stacy one though. And
Well, girl,
it's
you
gonna
should
live.
have asked me. I would have given it to you.
I know, but I have to work up to those things because I have anxiety. So like I have to like build myself up, and it was too late.
Well, that's okay. I'll probably get another one, and when that one gets a little worn, I'll offer it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Or
Dean
if
could
you
live right
notice it,
here.
because we weren't sure if we were going to give it away with the raffle or not. But at the end of it, I was like, I don't want to put this in my suitcase. The raffle winner, I was like, do you want it? And she was like, absolutely, I do.
Yeah, I seen her walking with it. I'm like, oh, why? Why do you have to have anxiety?
It was great. It was like free advertising. Plus, I didn't have to pack it. I love that for me. I'm tired. I get real tired real easy. Although this one wasn't that bad. I brought 3 assistants with me this past time, and I've never had that many with me. And I'm like, thank God. Like, it was great
Oh,
not
yeah.
having to do all the extra work.
Lucy, was dark romance kind of the genre you knew you always wanted to end up writing, or like how did that come about?
No, this is a fun story. So I started out writing Why Choose Fantasy. My first
Okay.
book was called Damon, and it was a Why Choose like fantasy dystopian. And I think it was a god awful. It was terrible. I took it down. It's not for publication anymore. I will say it was a great idea, but the execution was really poor. And I still laugh about the message that I sent to my best friend, who is still my best friend to this day. When I first wrote the first chapter, I was like, this is the best thing I've ever written. I sent it to her. She's like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And now I'm like, if anybody sees that, I will set something on fire. Like that, that's going in the vault. It's not going to see the light of day again. So originally I started out in White Shoes and I started in fantasy. And then within 6 months of my first release, I released 2 more books, both of them contemporary. One super spicy, one really slow burn. Both were wide shoes. So I was wide shoes for quite a while, for like a solid year or two, into my career. And then about 3 or 4 years I wrote the Sick Boy series, which is the one that like everybody loved, which is crazy because, my November 2017 is when I released my second, contemporary series, Now or Never, which is book 1 in the Iris Boys series. Ironically, it's Iris Boys and Sick Boys. Like, that's just funny to me. But, and that one was White Shoes, but it was like, it's like, kind of like a detective agency, but that's not what they call themselves. It's like a private agency, essentially, where they track down thieves and serial killers, and they track down, other things that are like, it wasn't very dark. The romance itself was not dark. And then the other book that I released same year was not very dark at all. It was my Break series. And that's very light. I call it my sex book. It's 99% sex, 1% trying to figure out how to get back to having sex. It is literally just smut. It is smut, no plot. The smut is the plot. And the Now or Never, the Iris Boy series, really took off for me in the beginning. And so I finished that series and then went back to writing some fantasy, where I wrote what I now call my Blood and Vengeance series, but it was originally titled my Barbie the Vampire Hunter series, which is very similar, I think, character-wise to Sick Boys. The main character of Blood and Vengeance series is basically like Avalon from my Sick Boys series, except she's just a vampire hunter. Got a real big chip on her shoulder. And that, like, once I basically when I wrote the Sick Boys series, here's the thing, I don't think it's that dark. That's saying, because and I label it as dark because it does have things in there that I think people need to be aware of. It does have SA in there. It does have abuse. It does have neglect. It does have like some enemies, lovers, and a little bit of bullying, which is an argument in itself. Because to me, I'm like, is it really bullying if she doesn't allow the bullying to happen? Like you bully her, she'll bully you right back, like worse. So like, is it bullying or is it just enemies to lovers? But once I got there and people started asking me like, oh, have you always written dark romance? I'm like, I don't think so. But then I look back at all my series and all of my books had something dark about them. Even if the romance wasn't dark, the things, the themes, the obstacles that the characters face always had a tinge of darkness, a tinge of like there was like a dying mom who was super abusive. There was a forced pornography ring, and like Iris Boys, which a lot of people consider to be very, like, it's on the cusp of YA and NA, or new adult and young adult. There is sex in it, so it isn't considered YA at all. But like, it's not very dark, the romance. So it wasn't a plan to become a dark romance author, but I'm fucked up. I got a lot of therapy to go through, and that's what this is for.
Well, like you said a while ago, Lucy, I mean, and we've said this on our show before, dark romance is incredibly healing. For
Very
people
much
who
so.
have gone through trauma, for people who have experienced all kind of things that are difficult, dark romance is really, I won't say the only genre. I'm sure there's other genres that are healing, but specifically with trauma, dark romance trumps. It gives you control. It gives you, all the things you need in healing ways. And so I can absolutely see that, at least for us, that's how it's been.
Oh, for sure. I highly agree with that dark romance and a lot of the stuff. And it's like, dark romance is also a good way to be selfish too, which as women, I think it's hard for women to be selfish. I just don't think we're I think engineered to be selfish, and we're also not raised societally. Is that the right term? I have
Sounds
2 degrees
good.
and I can't fucking speak. I love that for me. I got 1 brain cell and it's fighting itself for second place. Yeah, but I do think it's hard to be selfish. And with dark romance, you can be selfish. You can get the revenge that you never got. You can, I hate when people say be the bigger person. Absolutely not. Like, let yourself be what you need to be, especially if it's fiction. Let yourself be whatever you need to be to get it out. That means, like, in real life, in nonfiction, in, reality, you can be the strong person you need to be. Whereas in fiction, you can be in whatever the hell you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. And do you feel like that's kind of how it started with Why Choose? Like, it gave you that ability to have that time for you, that selfishness, if you will?
It wasn't until I looked back that I realized that it was, like, a lot of the stuff that I put in, even to my earlier stuff, which is not nearly as dark as my, I guess, newer stuff. The darkness is what made me, like, allowed me to be selfish. The Why Choose version, that wasn't me being selfish. That was just fun and a really big challenge.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you something, it is hard, super fucking hard to write 3 different romances, because that's what it is. You're getting 3 romances in one. And like keep it in the same like length of like a series. So because I don't like doing more than 4 books in a series. I don't love it. I have ADHD, and I just get bored. I was like, what's the next thing? I need something new. I need something interesting. So I hope that answers your question. I'm not 100% sure if I did, but hopefully it did.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it did. And I love Why Choose. So, but when you said that about being selfish and, that we don't get that as women, I thought about that. I'm like, oh, well, even in Why Choose, you can have that because like you get both. You know what I mean? Like you get
Hell
it.
yeah.
And yeah. And then, but truthfully, as women, we really don't, we are nurturers by nature. We're givers by nature. So we really don't get that time for selfishness and self
Yeah.
care like we should.
It's also nice to have somebody else take care of you. It's hard to let somebody take care of you. So I think Why Choose is also that, like, it's not just one person fighting to take care of you. It's like a whole team of people, and they're not going to let you say no in a good way.
I think that's important too, like, because she said that her books aren't necessarily like dark, but I think it's important to keep different levels of darkness for everybody because there's some women that don't want extremely dark because of their trauma. So I think it's
Mhm.
really important to have different levels of dark romance so everyone can choose what fits them too. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's great that they're not super dark.
It's a spectrum for sure. I call myself a dark romance author mostly because that's what readers consider me. Like I said earlier, I don't really Sick Boys was my first, I think, major dark romance. And then people are like, "Oh, this is really dark," and I'm like, "Is it though? Like I've read shit that made me question my sanity. This doesn't do that. It does." However, I think because of some of the themes and some of the things that happen, such as the SA, but a lot of that was done intentionally because the main character is such a strong, physically, masculinely strong. Like, I feel like it's really difficult. I think all of my characters, though, all of my female main characters are strong in their own way. But she is
Mhm.
physically strong, very masculine in the identity of that she takes care of herself. She fights people like when she needs to, and she's very like in control. And I think it's nice because like I think I'm also in my masculine a lot of the time. I take care of the people around me. I'm the one who's the protector. I'm the one who does this. But in obviously dark romance and romance books in general, like I can let that go. I can be in my
Mhm.
feminine and I can let the main character, the MMC, be the protector. And it's really nice to see that exchange and that changeover a little bit to come across a partner or someone in general who you can trust to take care of you. So it's really nice. But yeah, I only mark myself as dark romance just so other readers who if that's not what they're looking for, a lot of the stuff that I write is common in dark romances. So I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
just so you're aware, whether I think I'm a dark romance author or not, readers consider me a dark romance author, and that is the important part because they're the consumers of what I'm writing. And I don't want anybody to pick up a book that I write and be like, "Oh my god, that traumatized me. Like I'm gonna have nightmares. It's gonna remind me of this." That's not the goal here. The goal here is for you to actually enjoy what I write. So yeah.
So I think we've got a pretty good idea of who you are outside of writing. But now let's talk about if somebody has never picked up a Lucy Smoke book before, where would you tell them to start?
Oh, that's a hard question. I'm I'm I say that's a hard question because my answer changes. It changes every new person that asks me because I always try to like I have so many books. I've got over 40 books in my backlist. I've done dystopian slash sci-fi. I've done fantasy. I've done menage. I've done MF. I've done like high fantasy with MF. I've done it with White Shoes. I've done dark fantasy. I've done dark romance. I've done new adult romance. I've done contemporary. I've done so much that every time somebody asks me like what would you recommend I start with, I have follow-up questions which are like, "Okay, like, what do you like?" And they're like, "Oh, I like everything," which is very common and very annoying. But I'm like, "Fair. Okay, then next follow-up question, are you a mood reader?" Yes. Usually the answer is yes, especially if they like everything. Great. If you're a mood reader, what are you in the mood for right now? Do you want fantasy? Do you want dark romance? And then it's like, if you want fantasy, and you want Wide Shoes, I always highly recommend my Mortal God series because I'm very, very proud of that series. It's one of my, I think, best well-written series. Wide Shoes, dark fantasy, different magic system. I love it. It's fantastic. Also a good badass assassin FMC, so that's great. If you want MF, I always say go for the My Awakened Fate series, which I wrote with Rebecca Gray. That is MF. It's a trilogy. It's got like soulmates, it's got reincarnation, it's got gods, it's got also a unique magic system because I don't know how to do anything half-assed. Um, and I like to torture myself and not be lazy, which is not true because I love being lazy, but my brain won't let me be lazy. So if you want MF fantasy, Awaken Fates. If you want Why Choose Fantasy, Moral Gods. Same thing for romance or dark romance contemporary. If you want dark romance, MF, Sick Boys is my most popular. It's what everybody loves. I do think it's really well written. If you want Why Choose, I would go with Scorpion Kings. But the thing is, Scorpion Kings and Sick Boys are set in the same universe. And it's like probably a good 10-ish years at least after the ending of Sick Boys. But there are crossover. You will see some of the side characters in that series. So that's a very long-winded answer, and I'm so sorry. But it is what it is.
No, I love it. Okay, you said which one was your favorite again? You said it was the one you were most proud of.
Now, you didn't ask me what my favorite one was.
You said you were most proud of it, so I assumed. But I shouldn't assume, should I?
You know what to say about assuming? And I might,
Yeah.
fine, but don't make me into an entire one. No, whenever, okay, because it's different. I am very proud of Mortal Gods. If you're into dark fantasy, why choose? Mortal Gods is great. I'm very proud of it. It is not my favorite because I always say that my favorite book is the one that I'm writing, because if it's not the one that I'm writing, I don't want to write it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So can you tell us what you're writing right now?
I am working on the second book to my Sons of Salem series.
Okay.
Hollowed Bones, which is not my first trad release, but it's the first trad release with a different publisher. It's coming out on October 6th, I believe, this year. And it's like, have you seen the movie The Covenant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good girls,
Yeah.
because that's a fantastic movie. I would have been really disappointed if you haven't. It's like The Covenant, but like The Covenant if she had been a witch and if she had gotten with all of them.
Okay.
Oh.
So that's how we sold it to the editor, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect it to sell, but she loved it, loved the movie, and that's the book. It's Salem witchy, Salem witch trials. The Salem Coven hasn't had a female witch born in like 300 years, and she's the first one born in 300 years, and she just randomly shows up after her parents die in a horrible fiery accident. And so it's a lot of reveals. It blends a lot of like, it's very, when I say similar in genre to The Covenant, not similar in of itself, but similar in genre because it blends a lot of different genres. It blends a little bit of horror, a little bit of suspense. It blends the romance and the dark romance and the fantasy and the paranormal. So I'm working on book 2 of that series.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I mean, if you would have pitched me that, I would have gone for it too.
Sold.
Okay, so then when you look back at your earlier books compared to what you're writing now, do you ever look at those and think, wow, like I've changed so much as a writer?
Oh my God. Absolutely. The person I was 10 years ago is dead. Like, I don't know who she was. That's a different person. The person I am today is a crackhead. No, like a little bit, but gosh, honestly, it's just, I'm such a different person. I've definitely grown. I don't feel like an adult. I feel like a 12-year-old in a 31-year-old's body. Like, I don't know who I am. Which I didn't know who I was then either, but like I think I've grown and really found what I like as an author, and I think it took me 9 years to do it. So yeah, I definitely think I'm a different kind of writer now than I was then.
So is there a book where you feel like that change really happened? Like the point to where you said, okay, this is where I really found my voice from?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. That's different. Because you're asking me, like, was there a book that specifically I saw that change in? Yes and no. I would say it's a collection of 2 series and 1 standalone. Between those 3, because they kind of came one after the other a little bit. Expressionate, which is one of my, if not my first standalone. I think it might have been my first standalone. And that one is I think I consider my first true dark romance. There's a lot of mental health awareness in there, a lot of like suicidal ideation, a lot of abuse, a lot of like, it's like a personal story too. It's completely fictional, but it is a personal story. And so it started with that book. And then after that book, I wrote the Blood and Vengeance, or the Barbie, the Vampire Hunter series. And then from Barbie, I went into Sick Boys. And between that, like by the time I got to Sick Boys, I was like, okay, I know what I want. So it took Expressionate and Barbie to kind of get me to Sick Boys. And Sick Boys is like the finalization of like myself as a writer and what I like. It's a really good question.
What do you think in Sick Boys was that like I mean, it was a transition, but what do you think like clicked there? Like, this is what I love.
That's also a really good question. I don't know exactly what clicked. I think it was finding a very specific voice that worked for me. And there's like an old saying, I don't know, it's a quote from like when I say old author, I'm talking someone who's dead and been dead for like 200 years. But there was like, I don't know if it was Ernest, actually maybe not 200 years. I don't know if it was Ernest Hemingway or someone else, but someone else said like that every writer like has different stories, but the same cast of characters, and they just recast for every
Mm.
story. And I don't disagree with that because I've noticed that it was at the Sick Boys turning point. That's when I noticed, oh, hey, I've written a character like this in almost every single series I have. And this is not the first time they've been the main character, but this is the first time it's clicked for me that I've written a character like this multiple times over. And I've just given them different obstacles. I've given them different traits. I've given them different looks and different interests. But like who they are in their core and their personality, like whether they're protective or whether they're like, protective of themselves, their friends, like they don't care what other people think, things like that. Like that is who they are at their core. And it was also like, ironically, I was at a point in my career where I was worried that I was not going to make it. Meaning that
Mm.
when I say not make it, I mean like I, graduated, and I decided to make a go of being an author full time. I was making enough. I wasn't making amazing money, but I was making enough to pay my bills and get by. And at that point, it'd been like a year, 2 years or so in, and I was like, my income's fading, and I need to get another job. I need to go out. I can't live like this. I can't. I am doing my best. I've saved a lot, so I'm able to hold on. And so basically, I had decided to myself, and I told myself, literally the month before I released Pretty Little Savage, which is Sick Boys Book 1, I told myself, if this book doesn't do well, I'm revamping my resume and I have to go back out there. I'm not going to stop writing, but
Mm.
I will have to go back out there and get another job. And then it exploded and changed my life. And it's been changed ever since. So it's almost like when you hit the bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up too. So I don't know if it's like a
Mm-hmm.
combination of a lot of things.
Well, and for you to say, like, if this is kind of where I need to be, if this doesn't do well, I have to go another route. And then seeing that had to be so encouraging. Like, okay, I can keep moving.
I didn't believe it. I'm not going to lie. Like I saw it and I still
Yeah.
have this paranoia. And I think it comes from growing up with no money, and I grew up poor. We lived in a trailer park. And then when my dad moved us out of a trailer park, got a better job, we had a house. It burned down 2 years later, and so we had to go right back to the trailer park. So I grew up like not in like a great I love my dad. My dad and I are good, like we have a great relationship. But I was very viscerally aware from a young age of like what things cost and to be
Mm-hmm.
mindful with money and to be very careful and it doesn't matter. So when I started making money with writing and things like that, I was terrified. And I still have this fear that one day I'm going to get a call from Amazon or from the government or from some like strange creature in the sky. And they're going to be like, hey, we made a mistake. You have to give everything you've ever made back. And I have that fear, and my accountant knows that I have this fear, and every year she's like, you actually have to spend money. You know this, right? And I'm like, but I don't need that much to live on. Like, I'm good. So it was like very interesting that it exploded. It did really well, and I was able to, continue writing without going for a secondary job. And I was just like, but I was still waiting. I'm still waiting. Like it's 5 years later, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm still waiting for someone to tell me that I fucked up and like I have to give everything back and like I didn't you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
every year that I'm like I don't feel more confident in myself. I just feel like, man, I'm really lucky to be here and I'm so happy to be here for as long as I can
Yeah.
make
Like, I
it.
made it another year.
Exactly. Like every year and I hope I never lose that. I love showing up to signings and being like, I'm just so happy to be here. Like this is a dream come true. 16-year-old me would have never believed this.
I love that. Okay, so you've told us your favorite, but I want to know out of all these books, because you said it's 40, is it 41?
It's more than 40. I've also unpublished
Wow.
a lot of stuff because I'm working on them in the background.
Okay.
So like it's well over 40.
Wow. Okay, so out of all of those, is there one that has a special place in your heart?
Yeah. Yeah, there always is. There always is. It would be Expressionate. Expressionate is the one. The first standalone, my very first
Okay.
dark romance. That one is the one that holds a special place in my heart, and I wish more people would read it. It's just a little different, and it does make people cry. I can't read it because I will cry.
So what is it about that one?
I think it's just because it's a personal story. Like, yes, it's fictional.
Okay.
It's not real, but it does delve into like the idea of like a maternal figure and neglect, and then trying to find someone to love you, and but being unable to love yourself. Like I
Mm.
said, I have like chronic depression and anxiety. I don't seem like it though. I've got great meds, but also like therapy. Um, but, like, I've been told by so many people, um, that, you know, "Oh, you don't seem depressed, like, you're so bubbly, you're so exciting, like, you're always happy," and I was like, "That's the ones you gotta look out for, man. You gotta look out for me, like, I am not well mentally." That's why I have a therapist, and she is fantastic, I have to say. She is awesome, I love her, and, like, without her, I probably wouldn't be here. So, that book just really dumped a lot of my own coping mechanisms, a lot of my own struggles with like mental health and depression and anxiety and wanting to find your partner. And I did it in two different ways. I think it was the first time I ever like did it was the first book that I ever did like a good dual POV. Where in the past I had done
Mm.
like mostly the female like main character's POV, and then I would do like one chapter from a guy from one of the
Mm.
MMCs, like, at the end, or, like, one here or there at the end, but I didn't do, like, a consistent, like, her and him, back and forth POVs.
Mhm.
This was the first time where I did a good consistent, like, he got a good half of the book in his point of view, and she got a good half of the book in her point of view, and it was a struggle because I was really worried that, like, I couldn't do a male, like, character voice because I'm not a male, and my editor really helped me through, and, she was very, very impressed, and she really helped me to, like, kind of, like, find something and a connection with the character. She's like, "You know, you don't have to be male to understand that a person is just a person deep down inside, and they
Mm.
can have struggles, and it doesn't have to be a genderized thing." A lot of times it can be, obviously, in the real world, but for this, it was like, "I can't write a male's POV because 'cause I'm not a man," and she was like, "Are you dumb?" Like, that was her actual words to me. She's like, "Are you stupid? Don't answer that. I know you're not stupid, so let me" like, she was great. She was fantastic.
Well, I would imagine that would be very hard to try to write from a different gender's perspective, especially a man. Their brains are so different than how we process things, how they handle things. I think that would be so hard.
It was. I was like, "I can't do this." I was like, "This sounds like garbage. It's terrible. What am I doing? Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm a girl. I'm a girl. I'm just a girl. Okay, help me out here." And she was like, "No," but she's like, "Think about it. Like, the thing is, like, what do you want?" She's like, "You're the writer, you're the
Mm.
one in control." And yes, guys do think differently, but she's like, but at the same time, a lot of guys want a lot of the same things that women want. They just think of it in
Mhm.
different ways. Like they want a partner they can rely on. They want someone to love them unconditionally. They want someone to put them first too. And that's what women want. So she's like, why can't you just write a character and then go back later and figure out who they are? Because at the end of the day, they're all people, they're all characters, they all have souls, and they all want a lot of similar things. It doesn't have to,
Mhm.
but in the beginning, I was like, I can't write a man's POV really well, and that's why I was like, I really tried not to do it, um, in the beginning of my career because I just didn't think I was good at it. But this book, the
Yeah.
expression book really, really helped me to kinda understand, like, really get into their head more, and I think since then, I really like having that back and forth now.
Well, she sounds extremely wise.
She was. She unfortunately passed away, like, a year or 2 ago, very, very suddenly, and I miss her a lot, and, I think
Oh.
about her a lot, so she was a great, great editor, and she's in a lot of my acknowledgments even now just because she really, like she left something behind in me, I think, that was really fantastic, so,
Mm. I'm sorry for your loss, Lucy.
I mean, yeah. Thanks. I don't know how to take that, but I
I
also don't
know.
know how to take compliments if it makes you feel any better.
Um, we feel that.
Yeah. But thank you.
Okay, so let's talk tropes, because I feel like every author has those things that they just can't stay away from. So, are there certain types of dynamics or tropes
Yes.
that you just cannot resist
Yes.
writing?
Absolutely, 100% yes. Absolutely. It's always got to be the good enemies to lovers. I love that push and pull. But also, I'm just a hateful person. No, I mean, like, I love a really good enemies to lovers. That tension, that push and pull, it really, really gets me going. I also, somebody else had to point this out to me, but I do found family in all of my books. All of them.
Okay.
Did not notice it until somebody pointed it out, and I was like, huh, you're right. I didn't think about that. But I mean, remember I mentioned my friends earlier? I think that's why. Because I live in my own found family. Like
Oh.
I don't live a reasonable distance from any family, like any blood relatives. My closest blood relatives like a good 3-hour drive away. So like they are my support system, and I would probably call them if I was in a car accident before I'd call my dad, which is saying something. They are my support system. They are my ride or dies. They are my best friends. We're gonna grow old together like the Golden Girls. So I am not shocked at all that found family makes its way into my books. So enemies to lovers, found family, and then I always have to have a strong female main character. Not all of them are physically strong. Some of them are more emotionally or mentally or spiritually strong, but all of them are strong in some way, shape, or form.
Are there some that you have decided that you just want to avoid completely, or that you have avoided that you would like to try?
That's a good question. I don't think I've instinctively, or maybe instinctive isn't the right word. I don't think I have purposefully. I don't think I've purposely avoided any specific tropes. I think maybe secret baby, or like I don't mind kids in books. I don't even mind the pregnancy trope, but it's not for me. I think it again, the phobia. Um but also too, like something I'm really like big on is realistic happy endings. So, like, even if like, because I do have characters who get pregnant or have had children, and there could be a second gen later in my career. Um, but it's like based on character, like which character would it make sense for? Whereas sometimes, like, it's like you find your family in different ways, and they don't have to be blood related to you, so you don't have to have kids. But happily ever afters are always a given. Just realistic happily ever afters are different. It's not like, oh, everything's hunky dory, the sun is shining, there's rainbows and puppies and butterflies and poop, butterflies and all that shit. No, it's really like, okay, we're scarred, we're fucked up, we've been through some shit, but we're together and we're relatively alive. And we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
That's the ending. Like that's the realistic. It's like, hey, we're all in therapy, but we're gonna be okay. We're not okay yet, but we will be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like,
Right.
other than that, there's no other specific, like, I think trope that I've purposefully shied away from. There are things I do want to try. I would love to do a good, a good age gap that's like really forbidden, like
Ooh.
ex's dad or best friend's dad or something like that. I've done an age gap, but it wasn't necessarily like a best friend's dad. It was like a arranged marriage. He was much, much older, kind of situation, mafia, romance. But I think I would love to do a really good, like, age gap that's forbidden. I love a good forbidden romance.
Yeah, I love age gaps. Me and my husband are 12 years apart, and when we started, it was a pretty rocky start. So I love a good age gap story.
Don't blame you. I've seen it work. I've seen it work well.
We're doing well. So
Okay, Lucy, so when you get, your next unhinged idea in your head, unhinged in the best way, by the way, what does that actually look like? So are you sitting there with a plan, or is it, okay, I have an idea and then you're writing? What does that look like?
God, that's you made me laugh and then cough. There's no plan. I don't plan. I love plans. I love to wave at them as they pass by. Like, I am not a planner. I wish I was. I think certain things I do plan. Like, I'm like, okay, I kind of know relatively how I want this to end, but I have been surprised so many times at this point. So, like, half the time, the ending that came is the one that I planned for. Half the time, the ending that came is what I had no idea was going to happen. And sometimes those are the best ones, is when like I had no idea I was going to do that, but it came out great. So that's that. God. So yeah, no, there's no plan. It just kind of shows up one day and carries its bag inside and it's like, hey, I'm here to stay for a while. So, I just get like normally relatively like I'll get like a scene idea and then I have to figure out what the fuck is in that scene and how to either write to that and how to write what comes after it. And that's the plan. It's like I get one single idea and everything spawns from planning. Must be so nice.
So do you have a process at all when you write?
Drugs? No, I'm joking. Maybe a little bit like that the ADHD drugs for sure. So I can like stop for a second and actually think about it. I will say I have sometimes like what I'll do is sometimes so if I'm busy, which is oftentimes what the case is, I'll get an idea while I'm in the middle of another series, working on that series. And if I can't work that idea into the series, I'm like, okay, you've got to wait your turn. And if it's still around by the time I finish the series, I'm like, okay, now I actually have to listen to you. Sick Boys was in my head for 2 years before I wrote it. So, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it can stick around, but it's like if you stuck around that long, that means that you need to be written. So usually what I'll do is whatever the scene is, I will write that scene. It doesn't always make it into the final cut, which is crazy to me because that's what spawns the idea. And I'll write that final scene and then I'll figure out the story from that scene. I know for Barbie it was, or for Blood and Vengeance, it was, she's standing on a staircase and her not stepbrother, kind of like foster brother-ish, who's an asshole, of course, a very attractive asshole, goes to answer the door and she yells at him, don't answer the door, because she sees who it is. And he ignores her, opens the door, and it's a vampire. And the vampire basically grabs him and forces him to let her inside. And then she, of course, jumps the railing, and there's a whole fight like scene that ensues. And that whole series was spawned off that one tiny scene. And I had to figure out who the guy was.
Wow.
I had to figure out who the vampire was, why the vampire was there. I had to figure out whose house it was. I had to figure out like what's going on, like what's the story behind this scene. And then I wrote it based on that. And then once I figure out what the story is, I write chronologically. I don't like not writing chronologically. It will I can, and I hate it, and it will drive me crazy. I've had to in the past because I seen ideas for the rest of the series, and I'm like, if I'm stuck, I'll write them so I'm doing something productive. But in general, I really prefer to write chronologically, and I will sit there stuck on a chapter or in a scene until I figure out what the fuck I'm doing. So.
So one of the things that I've heard authors do, and I'm curious if yours are the same way, where they have a plan-ish, of which way it's going, and then their character derails that. Do you have that happen often?
Oh my God, these fuckers don't listen to me. No. I tell people now, I'm like, I am not, like, listen, I'm so sorry. I am not the driver of this story. I am the car. I am the vehicle. I am the conduit. They, like, listen, I come up with a reason why the car is here for a reason. And they're like, maybe not. We'll think about it. And I will say sometimes they'll listen to me and I'll write the story, and sometimes they're like, I like this part, but that's not right. And then I'll have to rewrite an ending over. And I rewrote the beginning of A Pretty Little Savage like 20 plus times. I've never done that.
Oh, wow.
It was the first, and thankfully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, the only time that'll ever happen. It was very frustrating. I had a bunch of different, ironically, the original opening to Pretty Little Savage became the ending of the entire series. So that was really interesting. So sometimes when they derail and they take me somewhere, it is somewhere cooler than where I would have taken us. So I don't mind it as much.
I love that. So usually they win.
They always win. Loser, man. Like, I am not. They are fucking assholes. I am not in charge. I like to pretend I'm in charge, and they like to laugh at me when I pretend I'm in charge.
So you've created quite the collection of people living in your head. So let's talk about them. When you look at all the characters that you've written, are there certain qualities or traits that you find yourself drawn to over and over again besides the strong female?
Well, first of all, that's a really nice way of calling me unstable. Secondly, yes, absolutely. Because I think I don't know. I think I know what I'm attracted to. So even with the MMCs, like I have to be attracted to them too. If I'm gonna make them hot to other people, they have to be hot to me.
Mm.
And I have a type, and my type is protective, possessive. When I say possessive, I don't mean like not like real life possessive where like, oh, you can't wear that, but more like wear whatever the fuck you want because I can fight kind of guy. That's the kind of guy that I like. Now I do like for them to be, now they can be possessive in that like, oh, you can't wear that, but the girl will straighten them out very quickly, and then they have to find themselves and be like, oh yeah, you're right, you can wear whatever the fuck you want because I can kill people and that's fine. So, like, yes, there are, like, the characters that I have to have. I also really like to have, as many times as I can, a really good female main character that is a best friend. Um,
Mm.
I feel so sad, and it hurts my heart when I read a lot of books where the female main character doesn't have a friend. Because it almost, and I do feel like, and I'm not saying this, there's no specific book in mind that I'm thinking of. I've just seen it so often that I feel like it's a theme where like she is the only female. And she,
Mm.
if she's not, then like the females that she's around are mean or they don't accept her or they don't like her. And in a lot of my books, I will have um like either a budding friendship or one that builds. I did have that
Mm.
in Sick Boys where she and her roommate eventually became really, really good friends. I also had like she had an old friend that went like that disappeared for a while who then showed up at the end of the series, and you find out her story and why she was gone and everything there. I also do the same thing in Scorpion Kings where she develops a relationship with two other girls after losing everything in her life. Where she had a best friend and her best friend, like, you know, slept with her boyfriend on her birthday. It was a whole shit show. That's not a spoiler, it's literally the first chapter. So, um, and I like building those like female relationships. And I think it's because it's important. It's important to have, and yes, I will have like women against women because that's just stuff that does happen in real life, is that women are pitted against each other. But I try to counteract that by having a good female relationship, friendship in there
Mm.
because I have really good female friends. I have great female friends. They humble me and they are my cheerleaders. They, like I said earlier, they walk a tightrope like professionals. Okay. They know when to bring me back down to earth and they know when to cheer me on. And it's fucking fantastic because that is a skill. So I like having those characters in books. I think it's really important for, because even though I do have like both male and female readers, I'd say probably about 80 to 90% of my readership is female or predominantly female,
Mm.
um, or gender fluid, I would say. And I like to have really good, like, not just that too, but I like to have good guys with good friendships too. The Sick
Mm-hmm.
Boys, they are a trio of guys and they are best friends because that's something I don't see a whole lot, I think, in reality where men have like really solid friendships outside of their relationships. And that's why statistically they say that like older men who lose their wives like die sooner than if they, you know, had like a solid friend group, or women live longer because they have those emotional bonds outside of a marriage or outside of a relationship. So it's important for me to show that as well in the guy characters and in the side characters. Like everybody needs a friend. Everybody needs a ride or die, a partner that isn't a romantic partner, but is a good, solid friend. And so I try to keep that in a lot of my books.
Yeah, and I remember that there was definitely a good found family with those three guys. Like they were each other's family from the
Absolutely.
beginning, and you could tell.
Yep.
And then as you were saying that, I thought about Avalon because she really struggled to have girl relationships. You know, she's got this hard exterior for good reason.
Yeah.
But it's difficult for her. And, you know, like you said in the beginning, all of us we just want to be loved. And you even seen that it past Avalon's exterior, you've seen that about her.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I had a lot of people tell me that she was just a bitch, and I was like, you're fucking right. She really is. But there's a reason for her bitching. I had, I think, a
Yeah.
reviewer who she had met me before. She's really, really sweet. She posted on TikTok and she's like, I like the writing, and she's just like, I just can't get into the book because the main character is a bitch. And I agreed with her. I was like, girl, you're not wrong. She is a bitch, and if you can't read that, that's not a problem. I'm not offended though by like negative reviews. I personally love them. They make me so happy. Because if you give me a 1-star review and you write out this long review post on Amazon or Goodreads, I'm like, I live in your head rent free. I did my job. Like, I feel so powerful. Like, because I'm lazy. I'm not writing anything down. So I am not typing out any bullshit. I'm not leaving a review. I'm very lazy. So if somebody leaves a negative review, I'm like, just say you're in love with me. Just say that.
Just say it already.
We're in a safe space. Just admit your love. Okay, I understand.
I mean, why do you want every FMC to be a victim? Why do you always need a strong man to save a woman? Let the woman be your own savior. And that's what Avalon is. She doesn't need anybody. She doesn't need Dean or anybody to save her. She pretty much can save herself.
Absolutely, but that's also why I did something really, really bad to her, because she was so strong. And I have, like, in the last several years, I've, like, switched my mindset from victimhood to survivorhood. And I would say, like, women who are assaulted have oftentimes get the same mental, I don't know if it's a mental illness, I think, or traumatized reaction as men who fought in war. Like,
Right.
both are survivors, and they get PTSD from something that happened to them or something they witnessed or something that they went through. And I'm like, both are survivors. So with Avalon, it was very important for me, for her to be as strong as she is, like physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, for her to have gone 18 plus years, like fighting off the quote unquote inevitable and then having it happen to her, just to showcase, like, you don't have to be weak. You don't have to be loved. You don't have to be, like, it will happen. It can happen, and it will happen to anyone and everyone. And what you do afterwards is what makes you who you are.
So you said something about a cannibal story.
So I call her the cannibal roommate, and I tell people, I was like, if I go missing, look in her stomach. And it's because she's upset. Like, so she has her own special interests, and she loves creepy history, and she loves specifically cannibal history. She loves the history behind cannibalism. She's fascinated by cannibals, by serial killers who became cannibals, by stories. Like, she watches what's her name? Bailey Sarian. She watches her murder makeup mystery Mondays. And every time she comes out with, like, a cannibal serial killer, like, she gets so excited. And last March, we went to Shadows and Seduction together, and she wanted to go to the Museum of Death. And so we went. It was really cool. I don't know what that girl was expecting, because I told her, I was like, it's a Museum of Death. It's going to be really graphic. And she's like, well, yeah, it's a Museum of Death. And I was like, okay. And then she gets there and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, what did you not understand about it being the Museum of Death? They said no video, no photos. It's going to be, I told you, she's like, yeah, but I didn't think it was going to be this graphic. I was like, what did you expect? I didn't even think it was that bad. Like, there are worse things I have seen in research. So I'm like, but we were at the tail end of it, reading about a serial killer. I think his last name was Fish. I can't remember his first name. And he ended up, like, he ate some of the people that he, like, killed. And one of the workers of the, I guess, museum was walking by, and I don't remember, we were talking, I was like, well, would you ever eat, like, human meat? Like, I don't think I could. Even in a life or death situation, because they do, technically, I don't know if you know this, technically, cannibalism is not illegal in the U.S.
Okay.
Oh,
It is not illegal. It is not illegal, but it's, like, under certain circumstances. Like, there was, like, a thing, like, a couple decades back where, like, a soccer team got, like, had a plane crashed, several survivors. They were stranded, like, in a snowy mountaintop, couldn't get down for, like, several weeks, and they ended up eating some of the dead bodies because they had nothing else. And they were not, of course, criminalized or convicted for any of that. But the one thing, what they get you on is, like, desecration of a human corpse. That is illegal. So it's like, there are extenuating circumstances. So technically, cannibalism is not illegal in the U.S. And a lot of these facts are things that I put in my book, Engaged to the Enemy, which is coming out in November, because it's like a lot of that series, specifically the dark rom-coms, are just shit that I've talked about with my family and friends. But she and I were in the Museum of Death, walking by. One of the workers were like, "Oh yeah, I would absolutely eat human," and I was like,
Oh, God.
so fast. I'm highly concerned. And to be fair to them, they were like, "Well, yeah, but you can you can get lab grown human meat." I was like, "Okay, that's different. I still don't think I could do it. I think that's gross." Like, don't get me wrong. I love a good steak. I like to poke it, and if it moves, it's perfect. But human meat, that's different. I can't. That's gross.
Yeah.
And my
So-
roommate, she hesitated. I was like, "So you're a cannibal?" And she's like, "Say yes. You didn't say no. That is the important part."
Okay, I can't get past the lab-grown human meat.
Well, you know they're
Part.
lab growing like animal meat now, right? Too.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense. But the humans, it's all weird.
Well,
but,
they've
like,
been trying to
didn't know
grow
that.
organs because, like the organ transplant list is always so long. So they've been trying to grow human organs for forever. And I'm like, well, you could eat an organ. That's what we do eat when we're eating meat. So
Yeah.
But also, I just don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it. It grosses me out. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me. And the fact that she was not quickly like, "Oh, absolutely not." She was like, eh. I'm like, "You didn't, you bitch." She's like, "I didn't say yes." She's like, "You didn't say no." And that is more concerning to me. So now there's a running, in quotes, quote unquote, joke that if I ever go missing, she ate me.
It seems like a valid joke.
Thank you. Valid concern, in my opinion.
Yeah. A joke, but not really.
She says she wouldn't, but she says it in a way like, "Oh, I wouldn't." No, not so confident. Not, I wouldn't.
It's the inflection. Like, I wouldn't.
She's like, I would have to be extenuating circumstances. Ma'am, there is no circumstance in which I would be okay with you eating me. I don't even want to be put in the ground. I want to be cryogenically frozen. Like, I do not want any of that mess. If you eat me, I can't be brought back.
No, not at that point.
So she is the cannibal roommate. That is her name.
I love it.
Well, I think she would have to give out too. There's that. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about ending up in a toilet bowl after. That's just, I don't know. I don't
like it. I didn't even think about that. You would have to shit me out. I don't want that there. Yeah. I don't belong there.
So we've talked about the characters. We've talked about relationships. We have tackled the cannibal roommate. So let's talk about the spice. Okay. When you're writing a spicy scene, Lucy, what makes it work for you? Is it the physical side of it, the intimacy, or the tension leading up to it, or the emotional connection? What is that for you?
I was going to make some sort of joke about the cannibal roommate and spices and spices in the human body, but no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Plus, I can't think of one that's good enough. I think it's partially the tension a little bit because, like, a really, really good sex scene. And I'm not just talking about the action. I'm not talking about the kinks involved. I'm talking like a really good sex scene. A lot of my sex scenes there's a reason for them. They're not just there for the sake, other than the break series. That is all sex for the sake of just sex. But for most of my series, there's a reason to have sex. And it's either like, oh, we're deepening the intimacy of the relationship, or we've made it past this point, or we both think we're going to die and we don't want to go out without knowing what it's like to be together. Things like that. So my sex scenes have a point. They're not just there for shit's sake. But I do think that a really, really good sex scene really comes from a little bit the relationship and the tension and the back and forth and the should we, shouldn't we kind of dynamic, but also like we all love that good moment where you're just like, fuck it. And it's there and it's fantastic. So a good spicy scene is really like the buildup of so much, and that's the release.
So when you
read,
well, yeah. Now, when you read yourself, are you like a slow burn gal? Like, do you like a slow burn when you read?
When you say read myself, you don't mean me reading my own books, but like any book, right?
No, like you reading whatever you want to read.
I'll read anything, quite literally. Like I just have to. I go
Okay.
through. I go through what I consider like feast or famine phases, where it's like,
Okay.
that's what I call them. Is like I will get into one genre and I will just gobble it up. I will read everything I can in that genre. I'm a mood reader too, and that's my feast phase. I just feast on everything I can get in that genre. I don't care what it is. Like so, for right now, I'm reading Omegaverse, and I love Omegaverse. It's so good. I enjoy it. It's so fun. I have so many great authors that I'm loving in Omegaverse. And that can be really spicy with the heats and the knots, and that can be incredibly spicy. And I also specifically like really fluffy. I really like fluffy Omegaverse. So sometimes it's all sex, sometimes it's like it's hard to say. Because again, those feast or famine phases, so that's really high spice. But then on occasion, I'll get into a slow burn mood, and I want them to work for it. I want them to make me work for it. I will say though, I don't like reading. I used to be I could read any book, regardless of whether it had sex in it or not. Now, I will say that as a reader, like I have to have a payoff, and sex has to be the payoff. I don't care if you make me wait 3, 4, 5 books. It better not be more than 5 books. I don't care if you make me wait 5 books, but if they don't have sex at the end of that, I don't care if they haven't touched each other or kissed before the 3rd book. I do not care. But if by the end of that entire series there is not a open door sex scene, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be real mad. I will never read again. But that's because I've spent so long working up the slow burn. I have to have a payoff. I have to. And honestly, it's not even about the writing style at that point. It's just about the yes, finally kind of like situation.
Yeah. It has to have a completion.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you tease me for 5 books and like, yeah, they're so in love, and they never have sex, I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Even though, yes, asexuality is a thing, I am not asexual. So to me, for me and my understanding, like what I consider love is sharing your body and being intimate with your partner. That's like a that's a huge step for me personally in any relationship that I'm in, is like sharing my body with someone or having them share their body with me. That's a huge step. And that is like almost like a conglomeration. It's like the pinnacle of like, okay, now I believe that you're really in love. Regardless of circumstances, you guys have come together and done this, and like, okay, you're in love. You're like, yeah. Now, obviously, that's not the same for everybody. A lot of people are like, I'll fuck whoever, but like, I won't tell you my vulnerable parts until I actually love you, and that's totally understandable.
Right.
But yeah, if it's a romance, I feel like, or if it's marketed as a romance, I'm like, I need the spice. I need at least one scene where they finally do it, and it's open door. Because it's just like, I've reached the pinnacle, we've hit it, that's checked mark off, it's great. But I will wait for that. I don't mind waiting. I don't mind if it's a slow.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any words or phrases that you absolutely refuse to use during a spice scene?
Oh, I don't know. I will say at the moment I have words or phrases that I'm not a fan of that make me uncomfy, that I'm like, ew. But I can't say that I'll never use them. Because I have written scenes where I'm like, I don't find that hot, but I made it work. I like a good challenge. I don't like moist.
Okay.
I don't
That's
like
what I was about to say. Say more. What is the words?
I don't like moist. I don't really like folds. I'll use folds on occasion though. I'm just not a big fan. I don't
I hate that one.
I don't use the word penis.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cock. Call it a cock. Call it a dick. I don't like penis feels so clinical to me. I'm like, that's not hot. That's not
Yeah.
That's not hot. I don't like the word boobs either. That feels also like childish.
Yeah.
It feels like a little boobs. I'm like, that's just what it feels like. I'm trying to think of other ones that I'm like, I've read a lot of historical romance, and a lot of those stuff in historical romance, I'm like, why? Like, I get it. I don't like using flowery terms for a woman's like pussy. I don't want to use the word
Yeah.
vagina, but I'm not like her petal-shaped lips, her flower, her womanhood, her
Yeah.
like her secret garden. Like, I don't like any of that. I'm like, just call it a pussy for the love of God.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
be fancy. Like, we all know what we're here for. We're not here for the talent and word craft. Okay, we're here for the sex. Just call it a dick, call it a pussy, and let's be done with this.
Yes. I agree.
I don't like the when they say like her sex, like when they're talking about her part, when they
Yeah.
call it that, I'm like, that's weird. I don't like that.
I feel like I could, but it better not be every fucking other sentence. It better be like
Yeah, yeah.
once a book. Like, if you use it
One and
once,
done.
I'm like, okay, I'll just like I'll overlook it. But if you use it multiple times, I swear to God.
I love it. Okay, Lucy, when you are writing a spy scene, is there something that would probably surprise somebody who's never written one?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean?
So, as you've been writing spy scenes, like kind of the analytical part of it, the behind the scenes, is there something that maybe people wouldn't understand? Like, it's difficult to write that kind of scene.
I don't know. I have no idea because I think I've been in the industry for so long and I've done it for so long that, like, to me, nothing is a surprise. It's all normal. But
Okay.
so it's hard to like think of like how other people, let me think. I think I think what, I don't know how to put this. So if I like fuck up with my words, please know it's all on purpose. Not that it has been at all during this point. But it's me specifically, when I am writing a sex scene, now keep in mind, like, obviously how I write sex scenes, how other authors write sex scenes, totally different. What I think in my head and what they think in their head, totally different. But for me, it's like, I have to be turned on to a point, meaning like, I have to find what I'm writing attractive. If I don't, I don't expect anybody else to find it attractive. So it's like, I have to toe the line of like, okay, this is really hot, to I still have to be able to write it and focus on writing it. You know what I mean? It's like the worst
Yes.
kind of edging in the world. It's so awful. But like, so I
Yeah.
think that's what I think a lot of people won't understand, that is that like, I have to find it attractive in order like to really like, I say that, but like, I've written I don't even know if I would call that. I've written like the essay scene and things like that. I don't find it attractive. It is not meant to be attractive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But and so when I write it, I'm like, I'm writing it in the form of a mindset like, this is not attractive to me. I am not turned on. I am not having a good time. This is supposed to be emotionally
Mm-hmm.
devastating. Whereas when I'm writing a scene where it's like they're like finally coming together or something like that, I will say I get lost in it too. Like, I don't know how long they go. I had to have a reader. I don't know how far into Sick Boys or how far in that you've read, but in the fourth book, Riley and Abel, their first sex scene, their first like full penetrative sex scene is like 23 pages. I did
Oh my
not know
God.
that. I did not know that. I had a reader tell me they counted how many pages it was, and it went on for like 3 chapters. And I was like, I
Oh,
had
wow.
no idea, because it didn't feel like that long.
Yeah.
So I get lost in sex scenes too when they're really good and they're really like they're finally the whole pinnacle. To be fair though, it was a standalone and it was over halfway through the book. I was like, oh my God, they have to do it at some point.
So it's very immersive for you when you're doing that kind
Yeah,
of
I would
scene.
say so. I would say so. Like, it's a teetering on the edge kind of thing. Whereas like, I'm not so like into it that I can't hear the door open, or someone come home from
Yeah.
work, or my phone ring, or it's not so immersive that I can't hear anything around me unless I have my noise canceling headphones on, and then I can't fucking hear a damn thing, and I don't care if there's a murder in the house. Um which is true. But otherwise, like, yeah, it's like I'm so into it that I just like, it's a big undertaking, I think. They're very important to
Yeah.
me, and because I think it's because too there's a lot of readers and a lot of people in general. When I say readers, I don't necessarily mean romance readers. I just mean people who like to read, who like to shit on romance books, saying like, "Oh, they're not well written, they're not good." So to me, it's like I'm putting a lot of effort into this, and I guarantee you that like it's harder than you think to write a sex scene and actually make it good. And it's not just about the writing, it's not just about like the actions taken during the scene. It also has to do with the emotional capabilities of the characters. It has to do with a lot more than just the actual action of having sex.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking would be very difficult, that probably people who aren't writing those types of scenes, that they maybe would be surprised by, because it's not just I don't know, it's not just analytical. You
Yeah,
know, like there's all these moving parts, and there's the emotions of it, and you have to write it in such a way to make everything work. It just seems like a lot
absolutely.
of work.
Yeah, I definitely think that people who don't write sex scenes or don't write spicy scenes would be really surprised that it's not just sex. It's a lot
Yeah.
more. There's a lot of emotions involved. There's a lot of plot involved in sex scenes, at least mine specifically. I have scenes that I don't want to say this. I don't want to ruin it for you because I think you're going to read it. There is a book that I've written, or a series that I've written, where it's a white shoes and she ends up having sex with all of them. And that is a whole nother ball game. That is finding out whose arm is going where and who's in what
Yeah.
position with their legs up, down, twisted into a pretzel. Like, I don't know. But then on top of that, and I'm figuring that out, which is why I have great friends. And I'm like, you just sit on top of her, you turn around, face that way. God, I love my friends. They are probably so done with me, but it's too late. Okay, we are each other's emergency contact, so it's too late now. But so it's more than just all of that action and trying to figure out who is where and what's where. It's also like, what is this going to do? Is this going to devastate? What emotion is the reader going to have when the scene is done?
Yeah.
Are they going to be devastated? Are they going to be excited? Are they going to be like, okay, so they're together, only to find out in the next chapter, actually, they don't remember a goddamn thing. Like,
Yeah.
and then there's also, like, I've written in a fantasy novel where I've had a sex scene where it happens and there's other stuff going on around the sex scene. Like, it's in a public-ish area and there's
Oh, okay.
fires and there's ash raining down and there's, dancing and there's music and there's this. And there are hints and there are little details in what they're experiencing, what they're seeing, that will tell you, hey, this is a bigger scene than you think it is. And then I've had so many readers come to me like, I had no idea, but like once I got to the end, I realized there was something off about that whole scene and what they were doing and why they were doing it and why they didn't remember. And I'm like, good, because it wasn't just a sex scene. It was different. It was different. I can't say what it is without really going into too much detail. So
yeah, don't ruin it for us.
I don't want to ruin it. So that's all I'll say.
Okay, so we're going to give you rapid fire questions and we don't want to give you any time to think. So the first thing that comes to your head, just spout it out.
Oh God, give me a second. Let me clear my head. That's not happening. Okay. Never mind. Just go ahead and do it.
Possessive or protective?
Possessive.
Enemies to lovers or forbidden?
Enemies.
Slow burn or instant obsession?
Instant obsession, but only because you use obsession.
Banter or jealousy?
Banter. Both.
Morally gray or completely unhinged?
Completely unhinged. Those can be the same.
Okay, villain or hero?
Villain. They fuck better anyways.
Happy ending or emotionally devastating?
And can I have...
You can.
Because I always have to have a happily ever after, but I don't care if it devastates you. That just means they're alive and together. Everybody else can be traumatized.
Most dangerous character you've created?
Calyx. Probably Calyx.
Okay. Character you'd never trust?
Calyx. Listen, it really depends. Like, if he doesn't claim me, then absolutely I do not trust him. If he claims me, I would trust him. But if he doesn't claim me, not trusting.
Fair. Okay. A character that would ruin your life?
Calyx.
We're sensing a pattern here, right?
He's scary.
And I
very
think...
attractive, but scary.
I think this is probably going to be the same answer. I'm shooting in the dark here. But character you wouldn't mind ruining your life?
All of them, but yeah.
So we'll slow down the questions, but we ask everybody that comes on here. So what are you obsessed with after dark right now? So it can be books, a show, movies, snacks, a drink, anything that brings you joy.
Diet sodas, weirdly.
Oh.
I've always been someone who's like, ew, diet, that's disgusting. It's like, it's extra sweet. It tastes like chemicals. And for some reason, the last couple months, I've just been really into them. Don't know why. That and Omegaverse. Omegaverse all the way.
Okay. So favorite diet soda and favorite Omegaverse. What are those?
Favorite diet soda is probably a cross between like zero sugar 7-Up, which is better than the diet Sprite. Sprite full sugar, delicious, but Sprite no sugar, ugh, it's not great. But 7-Up, surprisingly good. Also, diet root beer, amazing. It's really good. Tastes normal. If it tastes the same, I'll have the diet. Oh, and Omegaverse, that's a good question. Anything by Catherine Moon. I love her. I love her so much. And then anything by Sarah Blue. They both write Omegaverse. Although Catherine writes a bunch of different stuff. One of my favorite series by her is a Omegaverse, and the other one's like a monster fucking romance. But Sarah Blue does all Omegaverse, and I read everything that woman writes.
I love Omegaverse.
That's what I was about to say. Cassie is obsessed with Omegaverse.
What are you reading right now?
Well, the last one I read was Ironside Academy by Jane Washington, which it's got Omegaverse vibes. I know it's not like fully.
I know. I had a friend who was just reading it, and she was telling me, I was like, so is it Omegaverse? She's like, yeah, but it's different. But I love Jane Washington's writing too. So like she has really prose and almost like poetic, like not flowery, but poetic language. I love the way she writes.
Yeah, it was a lot to get used to reading in the third person point of view because I'm so used to first. That was the biggest problem that I had. But 10 Mates, yeah, it's good.
It couldn't be me. That's hard. I find 4 to be difficult. Like I cannot do 10.
Okay, so before we let you go, Lucy, we need to make sure everyone knows where they can find you. So where should everyone follow you? Are you going to be out and about anywhere that they could come see you? Anything coming up?
Don't follow me on the street. That's called stalking, and I will call the cops.
Indeed.
You can find me like across any social media. I'm most active on Instagram at author Lucy Smoke. I also have a TikTok at Lucy_Smoke. I do not have multiple different platforms for both my pen names. It's all under Lucy Smoke, even though Lucinda Dark is technically the one that writes fantasy. I am too lazy for that. I'm not changing. So everything's under one. Also, I have a website called lucysmoke.com. Very easy to find, very easy to remember. And that will have contacts and actions to get to all of my social media platforms from there too. I do a lot of signings, so yes, I will be out and about, and I'll see you guys at Spellbound this year. But other than that, I will be at Fangirl next month, and then Spellbound in October, Shadow and Seduction next March. I'll also be at Heathens and Heartbreakers, I think next June. I'm trying to Sinners and Stardust next August because I always go. I love them so much. I think I'm also going to be at Twisted Tropes, which is in Tennessee, but I can't remember which city off the top of my head. Smutmas and the Smokies, also in Tennessee. Again, can't remember. One is Nashville, one is Chattanooga. I cannot remember which is which. I think there's another one, but I cannot remember for the life of me. So, if not, it's usually gets updated on my website too. Oh, and I think I will be this October. I'll also be in Charlotte, at a brewery. We're doing like a little like a conversation with thing, like pop up sort of. It's right before the release of Hollowed Bones, and then the day after the release of Hollowed Bones, I'll be in Greenville, South Carolina for like a little like bookstore after party thing. So I travel a lot.
All right. Well, Lucy, thank you so much for coming on. We had such a good time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome chatting with y'all.
Well, and to everyone listening, if you haven't read Lucy's books yet, you know what you have to do. And if you want even more Obsessions After Dark, we now have a Patreon.
Yeah, so that's where you're going to find all of our exclusive Unhinged Obsession moments, and we will have bonus content, longer conversations, and much more Unhinged things to show.
So if you want to come hang out with us after the cameras stop rolling, you can find us over there. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, and share to support our channel. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you're an author or narrator who would like to be a guest on our show, please reach out to us by email, which can be found on any of our Obsessions After Dark social media pages. And until next time, stay obsessed, and we'll see you after dark.